What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Dustin and Tanya podcast. I am Dustin.
And I am Tanya.
And we are your hosts.
We're happy to be here.
We are happy to have you here. So, today, what are we going to do?
Today we are going to talk to you guys about humility and having humility in the household. And I feel like this is a very important part to have in your marriage, in your household, because this is how you really get to be one with one another, is truly being humble and being vulnerable and being your best self. So that's kind of what our topic is going to be today. We're going to share with you guys why it's important, but also like where we have found in our marriage to be humble and how that has helped us so we could have the best marriage that we can have.
I know for big, strong, burly men, it's hard to talk about humility.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to be humble. It's really one of the hardest things. But I believe God has put two people together to become one, to pull out the best of each person individually, so that they're the best for him, but also so that they each become the best for the marriage. Because ultimately that's the covenant that God created. He wanted us to be in covenant with each other. And so I believe your humility rests on how much you can pull out of each other and how humble you can be to ultimately grow as a unit, as one piece, as one covenant for the kingdom of God.
Yeah, for sure. And I like how you said that, as a unit, because in all honesty, like, we are two becoming one in flesh. And so in able to do that, like, you have to know the deepest parts of each other to become your best selves for one another.
And for me, like, that's where humility becomes easier. I don't want to call it easy because it's not, but it becomes easier when you realize that it's for a greater purpose. It's not to be a brat. It's not to, like, say I'm weak. It's not to, be lesser than or weaker than or less of. It's literally to pull the best of me out. And if someone wants to pull the best of me out, it might be hard, it might be tough, but ultimately I want to be my best self for me, for God, and for my wife. And so if it takes some humility to create that, man, put me on the list.
Absolutely. So the first one I want to jump into is, it should start with us learning to be a servant to one another and looking at how can I be of service to my husband. And I'm not talking like sexual, right? It doesn't have to be sexual, but how can I put his needs above my own? Because in reality, like, he is my better half. And so I want to make sure that what I'm doing is things for him to help him be his best self. So for instance, one of the things that I've learned is looking at the areas of where I can fit in and make his life better or easier, or, however it could be. So right now, I know that he works kind of a weird schedule. And so I look at how can I be of best service to him to help him throughout his day and put his needs above my own. So maybe for right now, that's me making brunch and having it all ready and put together, hot on the table. So when he gets home, he doesn't have to wait. He can just come home. He can have a nice meal with me and then go and take a nap because he gets up super early to go to his job. So that's one of the things that I look at, is how can I fill in the gap necessarily and be a better service to him to help him throughout his day.
Yeah, today's like a perfect example. Honestly, tomorrow's Tanya's birthday. We're recording this on Wednesday. On Thursday, it's Tanya's birthday.
Yeah.
And I literally work virtually all day tomorrow. I'll start at 3:30 a.m. and I basically won't end until 7 p.m. And so on her birthday, my access to her is nil. So today is kind of a day off for me. I still have online clients. We still record podcasts. We still meet with a pastor couple and things like that. But that's like a day off for me. And so I made all morning about Tanya. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about my tiredness or the things that I needed to do today. I literally made the entire morning about Tanya. We celebrated her birthday today. I literally had breakfast delivered to us. We had coffee in bed. I took Journey out to the bathroom. I did things to serve her today because tomorrow I'm not going to be able to serve her as much as I would like to on her birthday. But it's a sacrifice that I have made so that we can provide for our family and things like that. So today I made it about her and served her purposes and her needs so that she still feels special, where tomorrow I can go about business as usual and still, obviously it's going to be her birthday tomorrow and I'm sure we'll do something special. But today I made it about her, served her, made her needs above my own.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about that too is that when you start looking at it in that direction of what can I do to better serve my spouse, to make them feel more important or special or whatever that might be, that behavior comes back to you because you're putting that out to them. You're making them feel special, needed, all of these things. So they're going to look at that gesture and be like, wow, and they're going to want to pour more into that marriage right back. So it really is like a give and receive kind of thing, and it really it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. And it does counteract. Like if she does something for me, I'm 10 times more likely to do extra for her. So if she's doing extra for me and I'm doing extra for her, number one, the next thing you know, there's not a ton of things that need done,
right.
But also it feels so good to serve, like from your heart. Like first off, man, I'm just going to share a little story. Is there a better freaking sandwich than one that someone else makes?
Absolutely.
No, like it could be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but it's the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever if someone else makes it for you.
Yeah.
So if I'm making her peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and she's, doing something for me, like we're just serving each other, and that ultimately makes life just so much better together.
Yeah.
So that leans into the next one, which is household chores. And this one's going to be very awkward for many of you. And I just ask you to humble yourself just a little bit and listen to what we have to say.
Yeah.
For the first 10 years of our marriage, I traveled full time on the road without her. And what I mean by full time is I would literally be gone Sunday through Saturday, and I would be home maybe 24 to 30 hours in between there if we were lucky.
Yeah.
And so what that meant was we owned a house. That means we had yard chores, which is the man's job to do. We had to have the yard mowed, and we needed to weed eat, and we needed to plant flowers, and we needed to scoop snow, and we needed to anything that was according to the standard of the world that was man's job or for me to take care of. My wife knew that if I was going to be home for 30 hours and she wanted to spend any decent time with me, because in them 30 hours I also usually needed to sleep twice, plus do laundry.
Yeah, we needed laundry, hang out with friends if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like it was all, anything that he wanted to do had to be done in that time frame, plus spending time with me. And so it really was about, I didn't ask him, I just did it. I took that initiative and was like, I want to have the time that he's home very well spent, not doing chores. So what can I do to make sure everything is done and taken care of? So when he gets home, he can rest, he can do what he wants to do, and then get back on the road and go from there. So I weed eated, I mowed, I scooped snow, I took out the trash, I took care of the dogs. I did those things because I wanted to, so I could spend time with him. And the same goes for, it wasn't just because, well, that's a man's job, like he needs to do those things and I took it over, but he does the same thing in regards to if trash needs taken out, he does it. If the dishwasher needs loaded, he does it. Like there's no, this is a woman's job, this is a man's job. It's just looking at it as coming together as a team to figure out what needs to get done. And if we both can do these things and accomplish those tasks together, we can come together and then be a team to enjoy life together.
Yeah, I used to always get crap on the railroad. Like I'm notorious for doing laundry. I will fold her underwear. I will take out the garbage. I will literally hand wash dishes. I do all the quote, I vacuum, I dust, I do all those things. And I don't say that to brag, but when I would not be traveling, then I would get laid off for like 2 or 3 months. Well, in them 2 or 3 months, she didn't cook. She didn't really have to clean. She didn't have to do dishes. She didn't have to do laundry.
I just went to work.
She went to work. I took care of everything at the house. When I was at work, she took care of everything at the house. And it was give and take. Now today, we don't have them scenarios, but we still have dishes. We still have laundry. We still have, the things that need taken care of around the house. And it's not well, she needs to do that and I need to do this. No, we normally get them done together, knock them out together so we can spend more time together. So if you can humble yourself just a little bit, if you can humble yourself just for a second and realize that it's a team effort, that this is for the greater good of a bigger purpose, so that we can spend time together, so that we can roll together, so that we can, do whatever, more of what we want to do, less of what we have to do, then it's totally worth the output that you can get with the input that comes.
Yeah, absolutely. The next area where we found where humbling ourselves was a very big deal was in our sex life. And the reason I bring this up is because when Dustin and I met, I was dealing with a disease called endometriosis, which had a huge impact on my hormones, ended up having a hysterectomy for it. And a lot of that left my hormones so out of whack that I didn't really want to have sex. It wasn't the first thing on my mind. And so in that regard, I was not being of service of how I should be as a wife and want to partake in having sex with my husband. It was just not something I wanted to do. But he, as a man, as a human, has needs, and I could not fulfill those needs. So he and I would have to have conversations about this. And I think the most beautiful thing is when, as a man, to humble yourself and say, hey, wife, I have needs and I need them taken care of, And there's nothing wrong with coming to your wife and saying, hey, I have these needs, instead of being selfish and saying, I'm just going to take care of it myself, or I'm going to go look elsewhere because my wife or my husband's not fulfilling my needs.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. For the first 10 years or 12 years, that was exactly how I went about it. It was something I would take care of myself in the shower or, in the bedroom or whatever. It was something that I would look elsewhere. I would, flirt or things like that. Heighten my awareness to my needs and then take care of it by myself. And we all know that that's not good. That literally leads to division. Then I start looking elsewhere for other things. And then the next thing you know, I don't need you at all. Yeah. And we've completely given into the devil and his division. And so when you give into the devil and his division, I guarantee you, hook, line, and sinker, you will end in divorce and lose every freaking time. Why? Because we've almost been there several times from different situations and different things that have happened in our relationship. So ultimately, I had to humble myself and said, babe, look, I know that you're not in any way, shape, or form willing, able, or comfortable doing the things that are in my list of needs sexually, but I need your help. I literally need your help. Like, I know this sounds dumb. I'm just going to be really raw here. I need a hand. Give me a hand here so that I'm not shameful in my own bathroom, or that I'm not feeling like I'm a sinner or I'm doing something wrong and I gotta hide. I need you to be involved, even if it's I do it myself. Just be here.
Yeah, and sometimes it has been that way, where
100%.
It was like, I will be here to arouse you, and you can,
take care of yourself. Yeah.
But him having me, like asking me and having me be a part, meant way more to me than him going somewhere else or just doing it himself. And so humble yourself a little bit in that area too, is if you are feeling in that need of, I have needs and my significant other is not being there for me, have that conversation. Like, you need to have those conversations in your marriage.
Yep.
Have that conversation and ask them to be a part of it. Doesn't mean that they have to do it.
Yeah.
But just to be a part of it
100%.
changes everything.
It takes all the shame away. It takes all the guilt away. You now know, like, yo, this is my needs. And even if you're in the room, even if you can hold my hand, even if you can say it's going to be okay, we're going to get through this, I'm now not shamefully in my bathroom doing things that I shouldn't be doing, or looking at videos, or feeling guilty, or anything like that. You're at least a part of it, and we can, discuss, like, how was that? Like, look, it's not my favorite thing. It's a little awkward. It's uncomfortable, but we got through it together. And maybe the next time that you're feeling a little, frisky, let me know, and we can get down then. But right now, I have this need. I'm waking up every morning with a, constant reminder that these things aren't happening. So if you could just, help me out a little bit We can get through this dry time, and together we'll come out on the other end less problem filled, less, looking other ways, less divided, so the devil can't get his grasp on you.
Yeah, for sure. Because, let's face it, we're all going to experience a season in our marriage where one of you is wanting and the other one's not feeling it.
Yep.
And so just having that conversation is going to be a huge game changer for you. But you do have to be willing to get humble and asking.
For sure.
The last thing that we're going to talk about is feedback and how important feedback is. And in having conversation, like we're just talking, having conversation with your significant other, but asking for feedback in areas and being humble enough to accept the feedback that you are requesting, because sometimes it's not always something you want to hear. But like Dustin mentioned in the beginning, our partner, their purpose is to draw the best out in us. And so I humbly want to come to him and say, babe, what can I improve at? Where can I be a better service to you? What are some areas you see in me that I could do better? And we've actually sat and gone on date night before. Crying in a restaurant. People probably looking at us like, what is wrong with these guys? But
we're over here just excelling in our marriage,
yeah.
bawling.
But literally having that conversation, and it really is an eye-opener to have them point the things up, because your partner sees in you things that you don't see.
Yeah, here, let me be real honest with you. When it comes to humility, you think you're the stuff. You think you're the best. You think you're the greatest. Right up until someone else tells you that you maybe not. Like, your poop still stinks.
You need to trim your nose
yeah,
hairs.
Yeah. Like, that's a perfect one.
Yeah.
We had a pastor literally tell us that a guy broke up with his date because she said, I really like you. You're a really nice person. You just need to trim your nose hairs, because he had a freaking beard of nose hairs coming out. And that guy got offended and took his date home. Well, ultimately, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to him. But he missed out on an opportunity because he couldn't humble himself enough to take advice from somebody that was trying to bring the best of him out, which we're all so afraid of, but ultimately it's what we all want. Like, you want to be your best self, then you also have to accept that you're not perfect and everything needs worked on and everything can improve. But not only you said that sometimes we ask for feedback, but sometimes you get feedback that isn't warranted. Sometimes you did ask for feedback, right? But being humble enough to walk in the door, you got your hard day's work, the kids' toys are all over, all the things are happening, and your wife or your husband to say, hey, I noticed something. There's a bunch of hair in the bottom of the tub. Or you left your clothes out on the floor again. If you could seriously just help me out by picking that up and throwing it in the clothes hamper, or is there a different spot we can put the clothes hamper? Like, if you're willing to give feedback, also be willing to come up with a solution. Right? So if it's like, babe, I would love to put my stuff in the clothes hamper, but your clothes are already piled up all over the clothes hamper, so I can't even freaking get to the clothes hamper. Right? There's a solution. Now you're working together to solve Tanya's problems of not hanging her clothes up. I'm just kidding. This isn't even a real thing.
It's true though. I sometimes don't hang my clothes.
But ultimately, be able to and willing to come up with a solution together to work through that feedback. So if you're a slug and you always throw your shoes on the floor, because I'm looking at my shoes right now, then maybe she says, babe, you wear a size 15, you leave your skis in the middle of the freaking living room. Somebody's going to wipe out. Okay, cool. Yeah, I could easily do that. If you could just move your pile of clothes out of the freaking closet, then I could get to put my shoes up. You catch my drift. But when you're willing to accept feedback, even sometimes when it's not warranted, even when it maybe feels like an attack, you cannot take it as an attack. It's literally, it can be said differently. And you can say, hey, I feel like you're coming on pretty strong. You know what? You're probably right. Let me rephrase that. Could you please move your skis out of the living room so that I don't wipe out on them? And then that ultimately is a way that we can now create solutions. Both of us, now you're going to pick your clothes up, plus I'm going to put my skis away, and ultimately our house just got better, and we just got better, and together we can now sit down on the couch without tripping and falling and doing all these things. So being accepting of feedback, even when it's not necessarily warranted, is probably the most humility you'll ever have to have. And knowing that this person, I made vows with, I took a covenant with. So I know that she's not saying, hey, you big jalopy and your big dumb feet that wear these big dumb shoes and they're in the big dumb way all the time. No, she's like coming to me from her heart. It's not to hurt me. It's not to, come at me. It's not to put me down or tell me I'm less than. She's just saying, babe, I don't want to wipe out on your shoes.
I like how you said that, and that's a very important part, guys, is that you should not look at your partner as they're coming at you, they're out to get you, because in all honesty, your partner should be coming at you with a place of love. Sometimes it might not come across that way depending on the type of day they had. Yes, our tones can change, but in all honesty, it really is coming at a place of love. And to accept it, sometimes it's gonna sting. Sometimes it's like, man, I didn't really want to hear that right now. I was having a really good day. But to take it in and be like, okay, I know that they're wanting the best for me. What can I do to improve this situation and get better? Or coming up with solutions together so you can both excel and create a wonderful marriage inside your household.
Yeah, but not taking, knowing that they're not coming at you, knowing that they're coming with love and respect and ultimately just pulling the best out. When you stop feeling attacked or when you stop feeling like a victim, stop being a victim.
Yeah.
Like, I'm grateful. Yo, get your shoes out of the living room. Okay, shoot, my bad.
Because I've honestly been in that place where I would be like, man, like I felt like he was attacking me. Like, dang, like what am I always doing wrong? But that was me. That was me coming at it in a victim mentality and thinking he was out to get me. And your spouse is not out to get you. They are there to help you and help you get better. So sometimes you have to get out of your own way and accept that the truth is they're really there to help support you and help you become your best self.
And as you do this, you're gonna find you're gonna maybe need to change your tone. You're gonna maybe need to come back to this. You're gonna maybe need to do some things differently. So start working on it. They say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The other best time to plant a tree is today. So if you are not using humility in the household, if you are not trying to make the best marriage possible, start today.
Yeah.
And literally start with questions or hey babe, how can I do better? What can I do to help you? What can I do? Can I make your lunch tomorrow so that you don't have to stay up till midnight? Whatever. You guys will figure that out. But start today and start now, and literally go at it from a point of we want to bring the best out in each other, for each other, and for God, so we can advance the kingdom in every version and everything that we touch. And when you start looking at it like that, it's like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know about this. Let me do my best to get better.
Absolutely. So we just have one action step for you guys to do, because I really want you guys to excel in your marriage, right? And the only way we get better is by practicing and doing things over and over until it becomes habit. So this week, find some way, some area in your marriage where you can serve your significant other, whatever it is. And it does not have to be sexual. Like, I really want to reiterate that is not, serving your spouse is not always sexual. So maybe it's making them a sandwich. Maybe it's planning date night. Maybe it's drawing them a bath. Maybe it's a foot rub. Maybe whatever it is, find somewhere where you put their needs above your own and serve them. And then send us a comment. Let us know what it is that you did, what you found, and how they reciprocated it.
Unless it is sexual.
Then we don't.
Just send me a smiley face and we'll know exactly what, we're good. Appreciate you.
We'll know it well.
Thank you. But yeah, no, seriously, just start to humble yourself. Start to really practice humility and understanding that this is for the best of everything that you do. And when you start trying to be your best, you're going to start being your best, and everything's going to work out. And then we're probably going to end up with more smiley faces than we are frown faces. And then we'll know that this podcast is working.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining in on this episode with us. We hope that you got some really good info. And if there's any other topics that you guys would like us to cover, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And you can follow each of us on our Instagrams. We'll put those in the comments as well.
Appreciate you guys. We thank you. And my coffee's empty, so I guess it's time to go.
All right. Much love, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.